All right, thank you, everybody. Martin Pia, Lance Luke here is part of the Ask the Building Expert series. We have an interesting topic, but before I get to that, we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and don't eat too much. And I don't know how, I tell people that, but a lot of people don't listen and they end up getting fatter. They're getting like gaining weight. So then comes New Year's time. Oh, my New Year's resolution, I have to lose weight. Okay, didn't you tell me that last year? So that's one thing. And the other thing is we have interesting topic for you. If you've ever been involved in any kind of construction or you know somebody, regardless of whether you're fixing some small thing or rebuilding an addition to your house, or building a new house, or building a 40-story condominium development, all these different types of buildings apply to what I'm going to be talking about, which is construction punch lists, managing project closeout, and some legal considerations. So let me tell you that this webinar masterclass is presented by Construction Management Inspection, which is a inspection and a construction management firm located in Honolulu, Hawaii. And this is probably the only commercial I'm going to give. And we'll get to the main topic here. Before I get started on our presentation, I want you guys to know, even before that, thank you. I see we have people on our Zoom platform, as well as we're actually restreaming on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I can't see who's actually watching on social media, but I can see our Zoom platform attendees, and there's a lot of contractors here, which is good because this topic applies to contractors, developers, real estate attorneys, homeowners, property managers, realtors, anybody who's involved in construction, building, or the construction process. And what I wanted to say is that this presentation is not based on AI at all. It's based on MI. MI, what is that? MI is my intelligence. So I'm not using artificial intelligence for my presentation as far as the information. I'm using my own intelligence, my experience, expertise, my background, and all that. So, and you're welcome to fact check whatever I say. I don't have an issue with that, and Martin doesn't either, because we know that we're providing good and solid, valuable information. And if what we present helps one person, we're happy, but we know it's going to help more than one. So let's go. What is a punch list anyway? It's a document listing tasks that need to be completed or corrected before project completion. And believe it or not, there's a definition of project completion. So I'll talk about that a little later, but we'll be talking about this whole concept. You may hear, well, did you do a punch list inspection, or we got to do one before we're finished or whatever. So why is this concept so important? Why have a punch list inspection done anyway? Well, it ensures that all the work meets client expectations and also contractual requirements. Also, ensures quality and compliance before closing out the project, identifies and resolves remaining issues before project completion, and allows for final approval and payment once tasks are addressed. Okay, so basically that's what it is. Common misconceptions regarding punch list inspections, or some people just call it punch list and use that um, term as a verb rather than a noun or even an adjective. It could be used any number of ways, but common misconceptions are the punch list is only for cosmetic fixes, or it's only for the contractor to do, not the client, not the owner, not the developer. And punch lists are always quick fixes. So let's go back to cosmetic fixes. No, it could be for any kind of fixes. And it's not only for the contractor, it's for anybody who's involved. If you're the homeowner, the punch list inspection is for you as well as the contractor. And they're not always a quick fix. I had a punch list or several punch list items that took 1 year to get fixed. Okay, but that's a different story. Purposes in the construction process. Well, why do we have it? Well, it ensures completion, maintains quality standards, facilitating final inspection, and protecting legal interests. Now, what happens if you don't have a punch list inspection? How do you know whether something is complete or not? How do you know, and how can you protect yourself if you're the contractor or the owner from callbacks? If you're the homeowner and there's no inspection, does that mean that you can call the contractor back 5 years later after he finished the job because you never had a punch list inspection? The answer is no. Okay, so keep that in mind. Common items in a punch list. Now, there's many more items to this list, but I'm giving you kind of like the top 4 or 6 items. Any component in a building could be a punch list item, okay, if not installed properly or constructed properly. So let's say we're building a house. You're going to lay the concrete slab foundation, and then after that, you're going to start your rough framing. Those items could be punch list items too, if they're deficient. Okay, but normally it's not a big deal. But these are the common items in a punch list. We're talking about in a house or any kind of building. Painting and finishing, touch up walls, trim, doors, fixing paint drips or streaks, repainting areas that don't match color standards, or maybe too thin of a coat. The mill thickness was too thin, and that's why you see the primer coming through or something like that. So there could be finishing items. And then there's electrical, light switches and outlets. Make sure they're working, make sure they're straight, make sure that they're in the right place. Installing or adjusting light fixtures, fixing any electrical wiring or connections. Got to be safe because electrical could be a shock hazard or could also start a fire. Plumbing, leaky faucets or pipes, ensuring all fixtures work properly, toilets, sinks, showers, adjusting water pressure in faucets or shower heads. Flooring, fixing scratches or damaged areas on tiles, carpet, or wood. Sometimes if it's hard flooring, it could be hardwood, it could be tile, marble, granite. Do the lines look straight? Are the tiles even? Leveling uneven flooring, cleaning grout or stains from floor materials. If the contractor's sloppy, you're not going to see a good product or good workmanship. Good workmanship not only includes doing the work, but also includes cleaning up after, not being sloppy about things. Some more common items in a punch list: doors, windows, adjusting door alignment. Are the doors and windows straight? Are they plumb? Do they even work? Can you close it? Does it latch? Sometimes I inspect new construction. The window opens and closes, but it doesn't latch. And then I look and go, oh, no wonder the thing is like uneven. It's not even plumb. Installing or repairing hardware, locks, doorknobs, sealing or fixing any window leaks or drafts. Sometimes the caulking is not good. Exterior work, repairing cracked or uneven concrete, sidewalks, driveways, fixing damaged siding or roofing, cleaning or replacing exterior lighting, and then HVAC, air conditioning, ensuring proper heating, cooling performance, cleaning vents and filters, fixing any issues with ductwork or air distribution. One project I had, brand new office building. I went in, their air conditioner worked, but in one room, people were freezing. All the workers were wearing their sweaters, and in another room, people were wearing like t-shirts. And like, what's up with this? Oh, the room that had all the people wearing their sweaters and jackets said, well, it's way too cold. And then the other room was way too hot. So guess what? The air conditioning was out of balance. It needed to be balanced. And then also, like I mentioned before, the cleanup, general cleanliness, removing construction debris and dust, cleaning windows and floors, disposing of leftover materials and waste. So many times I'm hired to inspect a project completion, and it was finished 3 months ago. I pull up to the house, walk up the driveway, and there's a mound of leftover cut lumber and all kind of construction debris. 3 months after construction's completed. And that's the kind of thing I don't like. It's like all that stuff should be cleaned up and hauled away. Some terminology you should know: substantial versus final completion. So there's the two words, substantial completion and final completion. Well, what's the difference, right? The difference is substantial completion means that the project is basically completed, but it's not totally completed. Okay, what does that mean? It refers to the stage in a construction project where the work is sufficiently complete, allowing the owner to occupy or use the building for its intended purpose, even if some minor tasks remain. It typically means that the majority of the project has been finished, but there is still some minor corrections or tasks to be completed. In other words, the homeowner can move in. If it's a classroom, the students can move in. That's substantial completion. Okay. Now, here's a question. If it's a school and it's a classroom and the air conditioner doesn't work, is that classroom substantially completed? And my answer is no, because the air conditioner doesn't work. Likewise, if it's a restaurant, okay, and the hood vent in the kitchen doesn't work, the restaurant can be open, but it's not substantially complete because you can't use the kitchen. And so what good is opening the restaurant if you can't cook? Okay, so that's the example. Final completion is everything is done. In the classroom scenario, air conditioner works. In the kitchen scenario, the restaurant scenario, the hood fan works and the kitchen can be in full use. That's final completion. So final completion is the project is considered complete when all essential components are finished and the space is functional. However, substantial completion occurs before final completion, allowing the project to be partially used while minor tasks, punch list items are addressed. Final completion is reached when all punch list items are resolved, inspections are passed, and the project meets all contractual requirements, making the official end of the project. And now this also includes the building inspector coming in and inspecting. So I don't consider, even if someone can move into the house or a condo, if the building inspector didn't sign off as complete, I don't consider that a final completion. And there's all these legal terminologies in big contracts that I have to review and all that. So each one is a little different. Now, how does a punch list impact completion status? Punch list items typically arise after substantial completion, reflecting minor remaining tasks that need addressing. These items don't prevent the project from being used, but must be resolved to achieve final completion. Punch lists often include small repairs or adjustments that need to be made before the project is officially closed and final payment is issued. Now, did you catch that point? The words are small repairs or adjustments, or could be large repairs or medium-sized repairs. But here's the key that I'm trying to make. Repairs or adjustments that need to be made before the project is officially closed and final payment is issued. Final payment is issued. What does that mean? That means I'm telling you, you don't pay the contractor the final payment unless these small repairs, adjustments, or whatever needs to be done are completed. Now, if it's a change order and you order something, I don't like the color of this bedroom, change the color. Okay, that's not considered part of the final completion. The part of final completion is the original contract, right? So you cannot hold back payment to the contractor because the room wasn't painted yet because you changed the color. You have to pay them for everything else. Let's talk about legal and financial considerations, punch lists and construction contracts. Punch lists are typically addressed in construction contracts. They outline the expectations for completing minor tasks before final completion and payment. Contractors must resolve these issues to fulfill contractual obligation. And I know a lot of contractors are listening in. Here's another key takeaway: retention payments and final payments. Retention payments are held back until punch list items are completed. These payments are released only after the project reaches final completion and all requirements are met, including the resolution of punch list items. So you contractors don't expect to get paid if you don't go back and finish all the punch list items. And likewise, owners or property managers, why would you want to pay final payment if everything hasn't been done? Even if the contractor says, yeah, I'll come back and redo those things. Oh, those things are minor. It's only paint touch up, drywall, this, caulk the crack and all that. No worry. I'll just send somebody over. And then after you pay them, you don't hear from him again. Okay, that's one reason not to pay. Legal and financial considerations continued. Mechanics liens and notices of completion. Contractors and subcontractors may file a mechanics lien if they were not paid after completing the punch list item. A notice of completion signals that the work is finished, triggering deadlines for filing liens and finalizing payments. Now, in addition to your general contractor and your subcontractor, a building material supplier can file a lien if they didn't get paid. And you might ask, well, what are you talking about? Okay, let's say the contractor buys $20,000 of lumber from Home Depot, right? And they buy it on credit and they don't pay Home Depot. Home Depot can file a mechanics lien on your house, on your property for non-payment, even if you pay the contractor. Okay, same with a subcontractor. Electrical. The electrician wired your house or your building. You paid the general contractor for that work. Okay, so you think all is good, but somehow the contractor needed money for another job and he never paid the electrician. Guess what? That electrical contractor can file a mechanics lien on your property. Okay, so that's why it's good to get lien releases. Let's talk about state law considerations. If you're tuning in from a state that's not Hawaii, where we're based in, consult your contractor's board in whatever state you're in to get the information. But basically, all states kind of treat this scenario the same way. But although state laws vary in terms of punch list handling, retention payments, and mechanics liens, it's important, very important to be aware of the specific legal requirements and deadlines in the state where the project is located to ensure compliance. So, although it's pretty much similar, there could be little differences. So, if you're located in Hawaii and you're building a house in California, the state laws may be a little different. So, be aware of that. So let's talk about owner versus contractor conflicts. Disputes can arise when the owner believes the work isn't complete as agreed to, or the contractor disputes the owner's expectations. Here lies a communication issue. So clear documentation of punch list items help prevent these conflicts. Exceeding contractor scope. Sometimes punch list items can include tasks that go beyond the original scope of the contract. Disagreements occur if the contractor is asked to perform additional work without compensation. So it's good, right? If the contractor agrees, okay, you know what, I'll do this. I won't charge you for this extra work. Follow up in writing, and writing could be via email. It could be text, but I don't like having to save all my text. So better just email. Oh, Mr. or Mrs. Contractor, thank you for agreeing to, add the bathroom mirror at no charge. And then so that later on the contractor may forget or may want to charge you for that, and you just whip out the email. Hey, look at this. Remember, you said that you weren't going to charge me. So here's the idea. If it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. So verbal agreements don't really work, especially when you're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of verbal stuff back and forth. You got to document things. Okay? No matter how friendly you are, the contractor is your best friend, still document it because people forget or things change over time. Withholding payment over punch list work. Owners may withhold final payment until punch list items are resolved, leading to disputes if contractors believe the work is finished. Proper agreement on punch list completion terms can help avoid this issue. I've been called several times, not as a mediator, although I was put in that position to inspect something and opine, give my opinion on whether this item was completed and also whether it was completed properly. So the contractor at one hand says, yes, I'm finished. I did. I installed the window. Okay, I agree. You installed the window, but I can't open and close it. So it doesn't work. So why should the owner pay for that? Can you fix it? And then the owner can pay. So different scenarios like that go on, right? How to resolve disputes? Communication, documentation, read the legal clause in the contract. It might help resolve disputes. I can tell you this. I've worked on thousands of construction projects. Thousands. And although there's language in the contract, nobody reads it. The contractor doesn't read it. The homeowner doesn't read it. Sometimes I got to go, oh, on page 32, here's where it says the owner doesn't pay unless everything's complete, right? And I got to remind the contractor, I got to remind the owner, hey, according to this contract that you signed, you agreed to pay the contractor by this date. It doesn't say whether the house is going to be finished or not by that date. You just agreed to pay. Oh, but that's not fair. I said, well, you're the one that signed the contract, right? So be very careful when you're reading contracts. Both parties should agree on expectations for punch list items and use mediation or legal counsel if necessary to settle disagreements. Now, I don't like when it gets to the point of mediation, arbitration, or litigation. That means that the parties couldn't resolve anything, and now they want to fight it out in court. That's not a good sign. Once I get involved, then it's at that stage already where the people can't agree. What should be included in the punch list, or what should be included in the contract? Clear description of tasks, location of issues, priority level of tasks, completion date for each item, responsible party for each task. So let's say you have a punch list item or a punch list that you made, okay? And there's 5 items. You want to describe each item, where it is in the house or building, priority level. Well, that's not really a priority, okay? Completion date, like, okay, fix my front door. When are you going to do it? Who's in charge of doing it, right? And how are you going to fix it? Best practices for organizing a punch list. Categorize tasks by type. Okay, so instead of making a list of 100 items and it's all over the place, maybe you categorize it by here's all the plumbing issues, here's all the electrical issues, or maybe you categorize it by room. In the living room, here's all the things that are punch list items. In the kitchen, and then go room by room. Use a standardized format for each task. Review and update the punch list on a regular basis. Include photographs for clarity. Coordinate with inspections to address items properly. Now, I'm going to stop here and say, when you're doing a punch list inspection, regardless of whether you're a contractor or the homeowner or the building owner, make sure your punch list is in writing and there's no law against taking photographs. You take photograph of each item, you write down each item. If you want to take a video, that's fine too. Right? So there's no dispute like, okay, it says fix electrical on the punch list. So what does that mean? Where is the electrical problem? What room is it at? And what is the problem? Right? Oh, when they turned on the switch to the second bedroom, the light goes on, but none of the outlets work or something like that. Okay, you want to be as specific as possible. So if somebody new came to the house, they could pick up your list and they would know what to do. Don't expect the contractor to be a mind reader or anything, even though he's been at the house every week for the past 8 months. Okay. Talk about software programs. Now, if you're building your own house, you don't need to use a software program, but I'm talking about big condominium projects or bigger development projects. There's several types of project management software, Procore, Buildertrend. I've used all these. There's mobile apps, cloud-based solutions, visual collaboration tools. I've used Excel, Google Sheets, Google Docs, Trello. But that's only if you're got a, I mean, contractors use these even on a small project. If you're a homeowner, it's your own house, I don't see a need for this. But I mean, if you're a techie, you may want to use it to track things. What happens during a walkthrough? Okay, so let me back up here before I talk about this. A punch list doesn't only have to happen upon completion. You could do a punch list every single week, every single month. Say you're building a house and it takes 8 months. You can go every week. You can go every month. Okay. And do your punch list inspection. I don't call it a punch list inspection. I call it a construction progress inspection or a project or a progress inspection. Okay. Because sometimes when the contractor hears punch lists, they're like, oh, I'm not done yet. So you can't do the list. You can't do your inspection. Oh no, I'm not doing a punch list inspection. I'm just doing a progress inspection, right? But in my mind, I'm doing a progress inspection and also a punch list inspection. And if I see things that need corrected, I'll let the contractor know. And he should do the same thing. So what happens during a walkthrough? Comprehensive review of the construction site to ensure all tasks are complete and that the space is ready for occupancy. When I say space, it could be your house, it could be a restaurant, a church, a school, hotel, any kind of building. Any issues or discrepancies are noted, often leading to punch list item. So I've had situations where I did a final punch list inspection, a brand new house in a subdivision, and there were workers there with a can of paint, drywall, a screw gun, a hammer, and they're fixing things as I point them out. And I think that's a little overboard, but I think the developer wanted the people happy and not have any callbacks later. Who conducts a final inspection? The contractor? The homeowner? Well, everybody, whoever's involved. If you're the owner and you have no clue about construction, you can bring somebody along, bring a friend, hire a home inspector, hire an inspector, hire your cousin architect or engineer. You're welcome to do all that, right? And if you're the contractor, don't feel offended if the owner brings a third party architect, engineer, or inspector, right? If you're a good contractor, fine, bring anybody you want, right? I'm proud of my good work, and I'll fix whatever you find within reason. So typically, the final inspection is carried out by the contractor, project manager, or construction manager, along with the property owner or client. An inspector may also be involved to ensure compliance with building codes. Now, in large condominium projects where there's a condo board, normally the property manager and a member of the board is not there during the final inspection, especially because sometimes they cannot do the final inspection because it entails walking on a roof or hanging off a building, right, on a sky climb. So me being the construction manager, construction engineer, I have to do the final inspection, but I'll give the property manager and condo board the results, right? I'll share with them my notes and photos and all that, right? During the walkthrough, additional work requests may arise. This should be documented clearly with agreement on pricing, if any, timelines, and responsibilities. Once all punch list items are completed, the project is officially closed out, marking the end of the construction phase and the beginning of occupancy. Okay, now here's a takeaway. If you're building a house, right, and it's ready to move in, but there's punch list items, it might be hard for you to move in, bring all your furniture and everything, and the contractor still needs to come back and touch things up, right? You want everything done before you move in, because I've seen situations where the touch-up caused more damage than the original punch list item itself. How punch list work can delay project closeout. Punch list work, if not completed on time, can delay closing out the project. Any unfinished items may hold up final payments, occupancy, or project handover, leading to extended timelines. And that's not good. Contractor versus owner responsibilities. Contractors' role: ensure punch list items are addressed promptly and to the client's satisfaction as much as possible. And the owner's role is review completed work, approve or provide feedback, and resolve any issues that may arise in a timely manner to prevent delays. So it's not one-sided. Both parties have to participate and agree or disagree. Digital tools, you might want to use software to track, but these are, bigger projects. Schedule regular updates and walkthrough to ensure tasks stay on track and are completed before the project's final closeout. The hard part at the end of completing a project is finishing the project, right? The contractor can work diligently and build their house. And if it's an 8-month schedule, on the 8th month, that's where it gets kind of drawn out because of the punch list item. Set clear expectations in contracts. So you want to clearly define the scope of work, timelines, payment terms, punch list responsibilities in the contract to avoid any kind of misunderstandings and disputes. Include clauses for handling punch list items and final payments once tasks are completed. You want to keep detailed documentation. This is our best practices for both contractors and building owners. Document all punch list items, like I mentioned before, communications and agreements during the project. You want to use photos. It's so easy to take photos now. You don't even need a camera. You have a camera built into your smartphone. Use photos, written descriptions, timestamps to maintain a complete record for both parties. Ensure all changes or additional work requests are documented and signed off by both the contractor and the owner. Going back to keep it in writing, not verbal. How do you ensure a smooth project completion? You always maintain regular communication between the contractor and owner to address issues promptly. Set realistic deadlines and address punch list items systematically to ensure the project is completed on time and to the client's satisfaction. Here's a contractor's perspective on punch lists. Scenario: a contractor faced challenges when punch list items are left until the end of the project. The subcontractors already moved on to other jobs, which made it difficult to bring them back in a timely manner, causing delays in completion and payment. The contractor underestimated the volume and urgency of punch list items, which led to months of negotiations, re-inspections, and unresolved issues. Lesson learned for the contractor: you should engage in ongoing quality control throughout the entire project, developing a pre-punch process to identify potential issues early. You want to check on these things and not wait to the end. This avoids delays and reduces friction with the owner, ensuring a smoother and faster project closeout. Owners' challenges with incomplete work. Scenario: in a condominium capital improvement project, the association board was eager to release the final payment to the contractor. However, upon follow-up inspections, it was discovered that several punch list items were missed or misunderstood. The lack of clear documentation, including photos and itemized descriptions, left the owner vulnerable as the contractor insisted the work was complete. Okay, lesson learned. Owners must ensure detailed documentation of punch list items, including clear descriptions and photographic evidence. This helps prevent disputes and ensures that all items are addressed before final payment is issued. How many times do I get called in after the fact, after the contractor was either paid already or they still got to release the final payment? And so I said, well, give me the punch list. And they gave me the punch list, and it just says words on it with no description of where it is or what exactly it is. Just as, crack on the building foundation. But what kind of crack is it and where is it? Right? Oh, I'm not sure. The guy who wrote the list is on vacation. That was our maintenance guy. Well, how do you expect the contractor to know where it is if I don't even know where it is or you don't? Okay, one more. Legal dispute over retention payments. Scenario. A legal dispute arose when a legal dispute arose when the owner withheld final payment to the contractor due to unsatisfactory completion of minor punch list items, some of which were outside the contractor's scope. On the contractor's side, the retention payment was pushed for release even though punch list items were still pending and not completed. Lesson learned. Clear contract language is essential, specifying completion criteria, documentation requirements, and timelines for payment release or withholding. Proper communication and understanding between the contractor and owner can prevent disputes over retention payments and unresolved punch list tasks. So I breezed through all of this fairly fast. I could actually give an 8-hour course on just punch list items and all that, but I'm not going to do that. We don't have the luxury of time here. So what's my conclusion? My conclusion is that both parties have to work together to get the project completed, and the punch list has to be done correctly, documenting and agreed to. Okay, it doesn't happen nicely all the time, but hopefully it does. What you miss, not from today, but we've given a lot of masterclass webinars. It's on our website on almost every single construction item, including condominium stuff. What's coming up? We got one final masterclass webinar for this year to close out 2025, and the title is Holiday Safety. I'll be talking about Christmas trees can catch fire, and when you string up your lights, don't plug too many in on a power strip for your holiday lighting and things like that. So here's our website, askbuildingexpert.now.site, and we're updating it constantly. Every day we're working on it. We have expert websites on that website for a lot of different things: painting, waterproofing, fire, life safety, asphalt, contractor licensing. In addition to our websites, we have blogs. We have a National Building Expert blog. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Sign up for future masterclass webinars. We already have our 2026 schedule posted already, and you could register for any one of those or all of them for that matter. Now we get to the Q&A. You got questions, we got answers. If you need to get a hold of me, my phone number and email address is on the screen. If you're not looking at the screen, go back later and take a look. But Lance Luke at HawaiiBuildingExpert.com, fairly easy. So Martin, I'm going to bring you back. I see you're still awake. That's a good thing. And let's see if we got any questions from our audience.
Yes, Lance, I'm still awake, still here. Interesting topic as usual. But,
All right.
had a couple of questions that have come in on our social media side here, I think. So first one is, what are the most common mistakes contractors and owners make when managing punch lists during project closeout? You indicated quite a few. What are the common ones you see a lot?
Common ones that they're rushing and they're making a list before the contractor's completed, or they're doing the final walkthrough and they feel rushed. And a lot of, especially homeowners, they feel that, they're limited to 10 items or something like that. They feel bad making a long list to give to the contractor. That's not the time to feel bad. right? The time to do things right is you take your time and you write things down, and you point it to the contractor, and the contractor may have a response. Oh, we can't fix that because of this, or this is the way it's supposed to be done, or whatever, and listen. And some of the responses from the contractor may not make sense, but you can ask for further clarification. So take your time making the list and make sure you have all your information listed down with photos to back it up. And that's fairly easy to do. If you don't know enough about construction, find somebody who does, right? Even even hire somebody. And sometimes I have to question uh, the owner when I get called. Oh, I just had my new house completed, and I don't know about the punch list. I need somebody to help me do one. I said, okay, we can get somebody. It's going to cost you $500. Oh, how come so much? Oh, let me ask you a question. How much did you uh, how much did it cost you to build the house? Oh, 895,000. And I'm like, okay, you're paying 895,000 to build the house, and you don't want to spend a measly $500 to have a professional go there and help you with your punch list. Something is kind of off here, right? Um, so I don't make them feel bad. I just say, well, based on my experience, it's money well spent, because I can pretty much guarantee you that whoever the inspector is, and it doesn't have to be me, um, they're going to find more than $500 worth of punch list work. I can pretty much guarantee that, right? And in some situations where I got hired to do inspections, and they go, wow, how come you're charging $1,000 to? I said, well, it's a pretty big house. And then after I got through, the guy asked, if you had to add up the cost to fix all this stuff, how much would it be? I said, oh, $50,000. He's going, oh, then $1,000 I'm paying you is like cheap. And I go, yeah, it's cheap. You better add more zeros to that check. But it's all in fun. And I said the main thing is you don't want to pay the contractor the final payment unless all these items are done. There was some issues I had with the roof. The roof alone was like $30,000 to fix, right? So everybody's you know there's a specialty. Everybody has a specialty. We can't expect everybody to be a contractor or engineer or whatever. So if you don't have the wherewithal to talk to the contractor, you're already in a bad situation, in a bad spot, because you don't even know what to ask or what to say. And the contractor may say, oh, it's supposed to be like that. You see how we installed this is, new vinyl windows, right? When you open and close it, you can't close it all the way to make it lock. That's just the way it was made, right? And I go there and I go, no, that's not, something's defective about this. You better fix it, right? And the homeowner said, oh, the contractor said it can't be locked. And, well, what good is having security jealousy windows if you can't lock it, right? So anyway, hopefully that answered that question. You got any other ones?
Let's see. Yeah. Next one is asking, how can clear documentation and communication help prevent disputes related to punch list items? That's the
Uh,
answer.
yeah, the question answered itself basically. Uh, Clear documentation, even if you have to use 5 pages of your notebook or memo pad, list down item one. What is it? Touch up paint here. Item two, my pocket door in the kitchen. I can't latch it, right? It's something, oh, you're never going to latch it anyway. It's in the kitchen. You got to always leave it open. So sometimes I have to laugh at the responses from the contractor, but okay, so what if the person doesn't need to close the door all the time? The fact that it's a door and there's a latch, shouldn't the latch work, right? So it's all these nitpicky things, but um, why don't you pay to get what you paid for, right? So that's the whole idea. Don't accept shoddy workmanship or something that wasn't agreed to, right? Now, there could be situations where you ask the contractor to do something, but he can't do it because of the design or scope of work or whatever it is. So I'm not saying the contractor is right or wrong, but there's scenarios where the contractor was wrong, and there was different scenarios where the owner was wrong that I was personally involved in. So documentation with photos, shoot a video. And I always advise if you're building a new house, go there and take both video and photos. Go on a weekend where no one's there and shoot a video, and you can narrate it. Hey, this is a foundation. This is a framing going up. Oh, look, they're finally getting to the roof, right? And then keep all that. It might come in handy, right? If you don't need to use it, fine. But then you could make a nice video later about, okay, here's my house, my new house, and I'm showing you the video of how the house got constructed, right? That could be very useful. So yeah, there's all these different ideas. If you get stuck, just reach out and we'll be able to help you. So any other comments or questions from anybody?
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, there's this one. That must be a techie or something. The question is, in what ways can technology improve the accuracy and efficiency of punch list management on construction sites? I know you showed a lot of different tools there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, mainly it's the construction on the construction side. If you're building a big project, the contractor uses that, but then project managers could also use similar software to track things. And then on some projects, the contractor uses the software and they give me the access to it. So I can go in at any time. And they have all the photos and all the information all loaded up. So I don't have to create my own. I just use theirs. So that could be very helpful. I don't, if you're just a single homeowner, I don't, I think it's overkill unless you're a techie and then you want to get into that, creating your own spreadsheet and making a list and all that. But you could just use Excel or Word just to make your own punch list document to give to the contractor. And what I recommend to homeowners is you you make a list, regardless of whether it's Word or Excel, and one through whatever how many items, and then you have photos to back it up. So number one item, touch up paint on this wall, and you specify location, and then you have a photo that's number one, and it shows the, the discrepancy, deficiency, or punch list item. Okay, so and you do that for every single item on the punch list, and then you have the contractor. You give a copy to the contractor. So I know some people go, "Oh, I made my own list. I'm not giving it to the contractor because I expect them to find their own mistakes and all that." Well, I don't think it's time to play a game like that. Be transparent, and they go, "Oh, well, isn't that what you do?" And I said, "Sometimes I do that as a test, but when it comes to completion, I don't want to make the contractor go on an Easter egg hunt and try to find something and go, okay, yeah, I touch up, paint that wall and all that, and I go back and the wall is still missing touch up paint. Come to find out, he touch up the paint on a different wall. Okay, so just help each other out. And the contractor wants to get out of there. He wants to finish the job, get paid, and move on. who doesn't want to play the game of cat and mouse. So show them. That's why I always recommend that the punch list inspection be done by both parties, the contractor and the homeowner or property manager, right? And then when everything's completed, you can do another punch list inspection just to verify completion. That's the way to do it. Not like, oh, here's the list, and the contractor emails you back, okay, I finished everything on the list. Well, how do you know, right? You gotta be sure. And sometimes the contractor that's emailing you back, he's not even the contractor that did the work, right? If there's a lot of electrical, plumbing, roofing, drywall, painting, the general contractor is not the contractor that did all the work. It's all the subcontractors, right? So you got a lot of people. Construction is not an easy business. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of moving people. You don't have one contractor, although it's a general, doing every single thing in the build. You don't have one guy doing carpentry, concrete, roofing, electrical, plumbing, painting, drywall. You don't have one guy doing all that, right? So in the old days, right, back in the old days in the 40s and the 50s, you had maybe three or four different people. You got one guy that did all the carpentry, one guy doing the roof, another guy electrical, another guy plumbing, and that was it. Right now, you got like all these trades going on because we got more complicated. In the old days, the contractor who did your carpentry work also installed all the doors and windows and almost the whole roof. In some cases, they installed the roof as well. So, all right. Got any more comments or questions from anybody before we close out the show?
Yeah, I don't see any others. None from our Zoom folks here. Let's see. No, no questions. No, I think we're good.
Okay, good. I hope everybody learned something or got uh, some information that would be helpful. And we'd like to invite you to the next presentation. I don't know when the date. I think it's the first week of December or something.
December
Uh,
9th.
oh, December 9th. Okay, thank you. And then that closes out our show for this year. And then we got a lot of good topics for next year. So let me close out and thank you guys for attending and hope to see you at the next master class.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. Aloha, mahalo.
Um, let's end this one. Okay.